This video is going to demonstrate the process of using finger multiplication in order to figure out your multiplication facts of your 6's all the way through the 10's. Most people don't have too much trouble with their 10's. They seem to have the most difficulty with 6's, 7's, 8's, and 9's. So not only can you use this for those, but if you do need help with your 10's, this can also help you with your 10's. First, you need to know which fingers represent which numbers. The thumbs represent the 6's. The index fingers represent the 7's. The middle fingers represent the 8's. Your ring fingers represent 9's. And the pinkies represent your 10's. You may find it really helpful in the beginning to either use a Sharpie marker or a fine-tipped marker to actually write the numbers on your fingers. Ink pen would do. Also, you might want to, if you don't want to write directly on your hands, you may want to wrap them with masking tape and then write on top of them. The key for this process to work is that the palms of your hand have to stay facing you the entire time. You can't turn your hands outward. So just remember, the palms of your hands have to face you. Each hand represents a factor in a multiplication fact. Let's start with 8 times 7. So you're going to try to figure out what 8 times 7 is. What you would do is you take your hands and you move each hand to where one finger on one hand, which would be the 8, is going to touch the 7 on the other hand. Normally, it may be helpful to take the fingers down below and sort of curl them out under just a little bit out of the way, but on this video I don't really have a way to do that on this static picture, so I'm just going to leave it the way it is. I am going to draw an imaginary line from right where the fingers are touching and then all of the ones above, because you do something different to the ones from above compared to the ones below. Now, once you have them touching properly, you take the fingers that are touching and all the ones above this imaginary line and you count by 10's. So this would be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So just remember that number, 50. Now, all the fingers hanging below this imaginary line, you're going to multiply them together. So we have 2 fingers on this side, and we're going to multiply that by the 3 fingers on this side. So 2 times 3 is 6. So we're going to add the 50 to the 6, and we would get the product of 56. So 8 times 7 is 56. Now, as you can tell, even in this process, you still have to use some basic multiplication facts. But typically, you only have to go up to 4 times 4 for the highest one. So this shouldn't be too much of a roadblock for you. Okay, let's try another one. So I'm going to kind of clear this off. Okay, I'm just going to erase this down at the bottom. This time, let's try, I'm going to move the hands first. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, let's move this around. Let's do 7. Well, no, we already did a 7. Let's do 9 times 8. We'll do 9 times 8. Now, I know this is going to look like some fingers are touching when they're not really touching. It's much easier to demonstrate this live and in person. So what I'll do, I'm going to try to angle these a little bit just so you can see them a little bit better. It's going to be kind of difficult to do. So give me just a minute. Okay, there we go. So we have 9 times 8. So once again, I'm going to draw my imaginary line for the fingers that are touching and all of the ones above. So these you're going to count by tens. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. So above you have 70. Down below we have 1 finger on this side multiplied by 2 fingers on this side. So 1 times 2 is 2. So add 70 plus 2 and you get the entire product of 72. So 9 times 8 is 72. I'm now going to demonstrate one of the most awkward multiplication facts to do with the finger multiplication. It's not that it's difficult, it's just until you get used to it, it feels really awkward and funny. So we're going to do 6 times 6. Now what most people want to do on 6 times 6, because it does feel so odd, they want to turn their hands outward with their palms facing away from them. You cannot do this. You have to remember that the palms have to stay facing you. So it will feel very weird. Okay, so 6 times 6. I'm going to angle these out just a little bit more. All right, so there we go. We have 6 multiplied by 6. My imaginary line, we go right here because those are the 2 fingers touching and any of them that, well, would be above. So count by tens. We have 10, 20. This time the only fingers we're counting are the ones that are touching because there are no others above the ones touching. So remember 20. Down below, we are going to take the 4 fingers on this side and multiply it to the 4 fingers on this side, and we will get 16. So we're going to be taking 20, adding it to 16, and 20 plus 16 gives you 36. 6 times 6 is 36. This is the only multiplication fact using your finger multiplication where you would be adding a 2-digit number by a 2-digit number. But it's still not too difficult. So the more you practice it, the quicker you become at it. I've had many students in the past who have really struggled with their 6's, 7's, 8's, and 9's in particular. And once they learned this finger multiplication, they found great success with multiplication overall. So practice it, use it, and hopefully you will find it as useful for you.